In a major development, India and China have agreed on a patrolling arrangement along the line of actual control in the border areas of the Himalayas, informed Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri on Monday. This development has come ahead of Prime Minister Narendra Modi's visit to Russia to attend the crucial BRICS summit. The patrolling arrangement between both countries can lead to disengagement and could be a stepping stone towards resolving the skirmishes that started in May 2020. While addressing the media, the MAA stated the two countries had engaged in diplomatic and military negotiations over the past few weeks, maintaining close contact with each other in a variety of forums, and as a result of these discussions, an agreement has been arrived at on patrolling along the LAC in the India-China border area, leading to disagreements and, of course, leading to sorting of disagreements and, of course, a resolution. Let's quickly, of course, give you more details on this big development that, of course, has occurred and tell you, of course, about where settlement has now, of course, been arrived at. Clearly, of course, as you can see over here, disengagement has been done now for the Depsang area, for the Galwan flashpoint, for the Hot Springs flashpoint, and for the Pangong So Finger 4. So all of these points, which you can clearly see, of course, there have seen finally an agreement reached. Remember, these have been the sites of skirmishes in the last few years. Let's just tell you, of course, about where things stand at Pangong So Finger 4 first. So this is where things were before 2021, and this is what things, of course, became after 2021. You can see, of course, how the graphic had, of course, changed there, but obviously now disengagement has happened finally. Also, if we talk about the Hot Springs flashpoint, well, before 2022, this was what the situation was, and after 2022, this is what things look like on ground. Quickly moving on to now the Galwan flashpoint area. So disengagement, of course, now finally taking place in September 2024. This is where things were earlier, as you can see, and this is where things stand as of now. Also, if we quickly tell you about the Depsang area as well, disengagement is currently underway. You can see, of course, this is a graphic satellite map about what things look like currently on ground. So those, of course, are the big developments which have taken place. Of course, a big breakthrough achieved between beg your pardon, both sides. Also joining us now at this point is Major General Dhruv Katoch, Director, India Foundation. We also have Group Captain UK Devnath, geopolitical strategist, joining us live. Group Captain VN Jha, former Joint Director DRDO, is live with us. Also Major Mohammad Ali Shah, defence expert, joins us live. Major General JK Bansal, defence expert, is also excuse me, joining the broadcast live. Major General Katoch, let me begin with you first. Clearly, of course, a big disengagement achieved now between India and China. What has finally led to this, and what do you make of the announcement today?
Thank you, Uday. Uday, I think this is just the first step, and I think it has got much to do with the BRICS summit, where Prime Minister Modi will be meeting President Xi Jinping. It'll have something to do with that, because the Chinese were very keen to come to some sort of a settlement before the BRICS summit. The second thing is there's a lot of violence in the world. We've got the Russia-Ukraine war. We've got the war in the Gulf, with Israel fighting with the Hamas and Hezbollah. These are the hot spots, and I think the world is a bit unstable, which doesn't suit either India's interest or Chinese interest, especially the Gulf war, because that is what is going to hurt both India and China very badly if other powers also get in the middle. If Iran and Saudi start fighting and the oil fields are attacked, or if the Gulf is, the shipping passageway is blocked, I think there's going to be very serious energy concerns for both the countries. So why rake up a third one? I mean, this is the point. I think at least China would have come to the conclusion that can be at least de-escalate or reduce the tensions here. Now, the wording which has come as far as the MEA statement is concerned is they are talking of that it could lead to disengagement, which obviously means that disengagement hasn't taken place yet. De-escalation had taken place earlier, but the troops were still there. Now, I'm not sure what the terms of the disengagement will be. How far back will the troops move, or what are the other terms, and what are the agreements reached as far as the patrolling is concerned? Now, that was the contentious point, because we used to patrol up to a certain area in 2021, Are we going to go back to those patrolling points, or will there be a change? If we are not going to go back to the points, will China be going back to the points, or is there going to be a no man's land in between? I think the final details will come out. But that notwithstanding, I think it is a welcome step for both the countries. We are two, we have both the countries have got very important economic interests to preserve, and just fighting it out on the higher Himalayas at this point of time, it doesn't suit either of our interests. So to that extent, I'm glad this has happened, and we'll have to see the fine print as to what exactly is there on the ground. Uday.
To Major General J.K. Bansal as well. Major General J.K. Bansal, obviously this has come after weeks of negotiations is what we're told. The fine print is still awaited, but your first comment to this big breakthrough achieved, how do you view it and how do you believe it's come about?
Thank you very much for inviting me. This is a very welcome step, and the doctrine which Prime Minister Modi has told that any matter has to be resolved with diplomacy and dialogue. The war is not the solution. So that has been practically been applied here, and this is a very welcome view, because before that there was more than 20 meetings between the core commanders of both countries, India and China, in the Chusut and Moldova border. At the same time, during 2022 in Bali, President Xi Jinping and Prime Minister Modi has informal meeting. They also talked there, and during 2023 in the BRICS meeting in South Africa also there had been talk. So this is the ground was already made, and this is a very wise step by both the countries. This will go in a long way now. Earlier also during the discussion or the meeting, it was decided that yes, there will be communication between two sides. There will be a trolling, and now the disengagement will come to, and it will boom and progress on both sides, because as such India and China is having a trade of nearly $140 billion per year. So this is a very good thing, that yes, now unnecessarily both sides were keeping their troops more than 50,000, and that was a great cost. So this is a very sensible, wise step from both sides, and it's always welcome. Thank you, Uday. Yes.
All right, let me take that to Group Captain Devnath as well. Now, Group Captain Devnath, what will now be the new patrolling points? I think that is going to be something to be looked at very closely. Does this complete breakthrough mean that disengagement will now occur at all the contentious flashpoints, including, of course, Depsang, Hot Springs, Galwan, etc.?
Uday, first requirement is to avoid any future skirmish between both the forces by mistake. So certain confidence building measures are required to be implemented on ground. On ground, when patrolling is done by JCOs, Jawans and junior officers, they need a very detailed map. In military language, we call these maps as 1:50,000 map or 1-inch map. So I am very sure that now formation headquarters, that is from corps headquarters down to div headquarters, down to brigade headquarters, down to battalion headquarters, then company commanders will have the last stone marked on ground on this 50,000, 1:50,000 map, so that by mistake no one steps beyond his line. Second confidence building measure which is required to be taken immediately is to define what type of weapons can these patrolling parties, especially when they go on long range patrolling, can take along with them. I remember distinctly that earlier, 2 decades ago or 1 decade ago, there was a total ban on carrying any kind of a lethal weapon or even a weapon which can fire. So both the sides used to go on patrol almost barehanded. Another confidence building measure which needs to be detailed, which needs to be implemented on ground, is who will go for patrolling. From Chinese side, will PLA army come up to farthest patrolling point, or Chinese border guard will come up to their claimed farthest patrolling point? Similarly, from Indian side, who will go? Will it be Indian army troops going to the last stone, or will it be ITBP, which is almost a police force going patrolling up to last stone? So final details are yet to be arrived. My personal opinion will be that to keep the borders soft and ensure that both the side border police meet each other during their long range patrol and not the regular armies. Yes, Uday?
Absolutely. Group Captain VN Jha, your take on how this has, come about. What do you believe has finally led to the breakthrough? Is it the fact that the BRICS summit is around the corner, and that is finally what has led to this ice breaking between the two countries?
What has been going on, over the last 20 odd rounds of talk? Chinese have by and large been non-yielding. In fact, they have been asking more, entry into the Indian point somewhere else. I'm very particular about their incursion into Arunachal, just northeast of Tawang. They are the area, the last skirmish point. They are asking for the joint patrol there. They are another river front where they are asking for joint patrol. So they are seeking entry into the area which earlier were totally under Indian control. Now they are asking for it. Now this talk, what is going on? Is there any trade-off? Are we yielding the ground somewhere else, and they are allowing our joint patrol into the Ladakh area? I'm not very sure. Until and unless all the details come, we really cannot be very positive about the Chinese intent. Secondly, Depsang area is absolutely important, essential for India, because the road to Depsang is the one which is being looked directly into the line of sight from petrol point of earlier 9, 10, 10A, 11, 12, 13. Now, all these points right now are being denied for the joint patrolling by the Indian troops. So, in this talk, is the final prints allowing Indian what Devnath has asked for, whether it is Indian Army or ITBP, whosoever is in the peacetime there, are they being allowed to go up to the point what earlier there was there? That is what India has been asking for. India has been time and again telling China that we want the point what was there pre-escalation. The troops should be there, joint patrolling should be there. Are they allowing there? I'm not sure, because until and unless all these fine prints come, we can't be very sure. And last but not the least, look, in this meantime, China has made several infrastructural foray, I will call it, into the disputed territories, including that in the Pengong area, Pengong Lake as such. So are they going to disband this and go back to the area where they were earlier? Look, we already have 4 or 5 agreements with China, into which it was very clearly said that no side will make any foray into the areas without consulting the other side. But Chinese have done it. Now, have had all this, even in this meantime, after the Galwan has happened, even from the time of Galwan and now, there are reasons in the Kailash prefecture itself, where Chinese have made forays. It is on the record that they have come into the Indian territories and they have been later either driven away or they have retreated from there. So all these are happening right now. There is still transparency is lacking into the exact details. As Gurpreet Devnath said, that it has to come on the paper into the 1-inch map, that which all area are being controlled, where the Chinese troops are finally going. We saw them disband on the finger 8, finger 7, 6 in hurry when the disengagement had happened in that time. But now, what is going to be the final printout of the agreement? We are yet to see. We would like to see it before we make any comment. But again, my first line, what I started, can we trust Chinese? Uday.
Absolutely. Major Mohammad Ali Shah, let me quickly draw you in here. Can the Chinese be trusted? I think that is the big question. as well that I'd like you to answer, but also Major Shah, as far as of course the impact now of this development is going to be on ground at the LAC, and what is likely now to be the new patrolling points for our troops?
Uday, that's a very, very good question, and thank you very much for having me on your show and getting me a chance, an opportunity to learn from such learned senior veterans. I totally agree with what my senior veterans, my senior officers have said over here, and especially General Bansal and General Katoch, when they have said that, it's something to do with the BRICS summit, and they come in with this de-escalation process. Now, are the Chinese to be trusted? Not at all there. The entire 3,488 kilometer stretch of I would call it Indo-Tibetan border rather. Now that is a perception, as we all know. Most of us, we all know that. So often we find Indian troops and Chinese troops, they come face to face and they say, this is our land, no, this is our land, but on my map, this shows my post, no, on my map. And then there have been fist fights. Now there are orders, you cannot carry firearms and weapons at that point. So they have in 2022. In 2020, in fact, we saw the unfortunate Galwan clash of Colonel Babu of Bihar Regiment, when it was a fist fight and we had fatal injuries and fatal casualties over there. So the very fact is, when we say, okay, let's de-escalate the matter, let's stand down slightly, Chinese are not to be trusted. In 1979, Chinese, they tried stunts with Vietnam. Vietnam was the only country so far who China has not messed with thereafter. And so because what strategy the Vietnamese followed was, they put their border guards first, and the regular army was 20 kilometers behind where the border guards were. And it was a strategical move. They allowed the Chinese to move in. So when the Chinese moved in freely, they came in contact after occupying 20 kilometers of Vietnamese land. When their main army, regular army was there, waiting for them. They gave them a sound thrashing. The Chinese went back and they reoccupied land from China furthermore. So China, in 1962, in fact, I'll give you an example of Battle of Razangla with Major Shaitan Singh Bhati from Kumaon Regiment, Paramveer Chakra. Chinese would come, Indi, Chini, bye-bye. Where is the bye-bye over there? They are not trustworthy at all. We will escalate. They have a lot of disadvantage also. In the peak winters, our soldiers are robust. Our soldiers are battle hardened. But Chinese soldiers, firstly, they have this one-child policy in China. Secondly, you can see on YouTube videos of Chinese soldiers crying so they have to face the Indian army. In fact, 2 odd years back in December, there was a very famous video. It came as a famous Tawang video. It may not be from Tawang, but it was branded as Tawang video, where our Sikh regiment troops gave them a sound thrashing with only sticks. And the Chinese Rangers or army or paramilitary, whoever they were, they ran from there like cattle. So basically, it was a very non-strategical, non-professional move by the Chinese border guard or military or rangers, whoever they were, whatever they were, because the movement seemed very, very unprofessional. Now, I would like to compliment NewsX for the timely reaction. Just now, I was watching the press conference. The press conference just got over, and now here you are with covering it. That's a very, very good sign, in fact. So now, when more than 20 levels of co-commander level talks, the Chinese strategy seems that, okay, inko baaton mein uljha lete hain, and we will buy time, so be it. So if that is the case, we have capability of getting back, of going in, as General Duskatu said. It depends that we were patrolling a certain amount of area. Will we patrol that area? Will we reoccupy that? And will, in the middle, it will be left as no man's land? It's a very, very valid point, very, very pertinent point as of now, because there are certain issues over there which also we need to know the details. It needs to be clarified. Okay, what are the terms of de-escalation are? So Chinese, even if they say they're going to de-escalate the matter, I have my doubts. They are non-trustworthy, and yes, we should be very, very chary of what their moves are there.
General Bansal, now that this development has occurred, do we expect a very productive BRICS meeting in Russia? And also, could we expect more engagement with China there at the topmost level?
Definitely, it will be more productive. I would like to say one thing here, that of course everybody says Chinese cannot be trusted, but here India has taken very tough stand, and it took more than 4 years, and we had negotiated in a bargain in a very hard manner. Earlier, even Chinese and Chinese Foreign Minister, Mr. Wang Yi and all, they had been saying, okay, let's do the trade and this matter can it, but India was very clear that first that matter has to be resolved and only we'll go ahead. Now, I think, as I told earlier, this talk and of the commanders level, there has been talk between the diplomats, there has been talk between our National Security Advisor, Mr. Doval, and now finally 2 times Prime Minister Modi met, of course, informally while talking during the dinner in South Africa, while there was a BRICS meeting and while short meeting during this G20 meetings. So that everything, our Prime Minister is a very sharp person, and he understood, he saw that yes, China is keen and we have to have on our terms. Means even in Doklam also, till the time our terms were accepted, we did not withdraw from here. So this time also, there is nothing, no compromise at any stage. So what I feel, of course, that local commander will decide, but the India is very, and now I will tell one more thing here. As far as the trust is concerned, once the patrolling and the things will be decided in border, then our troops are always vigilant. They will see, and if there is any kind of mistrust from the Chinese side will be noted, and anything it can always be controlled. But now, as on today, this is a good move and it should be taken forward. And I feel personally that disengagement and everything will go smoothly further. Uday.
How will this now be taken forward, though, Major General Katoch? How will this development now impact, to relations, countries' relations, of course, but also the situation at the LAC henceforth?
Oh, very frankly, I think the situation in the LAC will de-escalate now. I mean, you see that the tension which was there will de-escalate. There will be some form of a disengagement. But I don't think we are going to get our troops, the majority of our troops which are there in Ladakh, eastern Ladakh, we are not going to move them back. Because for us to get them back there is going to take an inordinately long time. There are just 2 points I want to clarify. One is this question of joint patrolling, which was spoken of. We never had joint patrolling there. Our patrols go, their patrols come. Sometimes the two patrols meet, right? But joint patrolling has a connotation that we speak to each other and then we have a joint patrol. There is no joint patrolling. It is their patrols which come and our patrols which go, and when they meet, then of course there is a procedure by which we disengage, that they go back and we go back. The second thing is, should we have regular troops or ITBP troops? In my view, you see, let's not fiddle around. Please have regular troops there. There could be some component of ITBP somewhere. Otherwise, we will lose out very heavily in the long run. You have got an Indian army, please keep it there. It is required. Do not put the ITBP there across the entire length of the LAC. The ITBP could be there in some pockets. Otherwise, it's the command and control aspects are going to make it a very, very difficult proposition, which the ITBP under the Home Ministry and the Indian Army under the Defense Ministry. And by the time we coordinate something, we'd have lost out very heavily. I personally won't recommend that. The one more point I want to give, as far as the Tawang sector is concerned, which was mentioned, the Tawang sector is very well demarcated. There is absolutely no problems there. There is some problem now a little bit in the eastern sector, but by and large, when you're looking at that 25 to 30 kilometers of the Tawang sector, in that 800 to 1,000 kilometer LAC there, that is the most critical sector. It is very, very well demarcated. We know where we are. The Chinese know where they are. So I don't think there's going to be any problems there, either in patrolling or anything else. Whatever is there, the Indian Army will handle and keep that area stable. The problem remains in eastern Ladakh. And that is something which, Uday, I think we need to be very careful about. And have good relations. But you see, trust and verify. That has to be the mantra. And don't pull too far back. Always be in a position that you can go back to resolve whatever issue has to be resolved. Uday.
All right. Let me, take that to Group Captain Devnath as well. Now, Group Captain Devnath, what are we expecting now at the BRICS summit between India and China? Do we see more engagement at the top level at the summit now?
Definitely, Uday. We are looking forward to BRICS summit, very successful BRICS summit. President Vladimir Putin has spoken both to Modi ji as well as to Xi Jinping. Xi Jinping and Modi ji both will try and keep all these unhappy events or unhappy disagreements behind the scene. BRICS summit, the overall aim is that all countries they come together and they gain from each other's resources, they gain from each other's expertise. So, bilateral issues most probably will not be discussed, are not on agenda. The final joint statement should be very, very positive, constructive, where all the BRICS nations, especially newly joined nations, they know that the best foot has to be put forward by all of them together. Uday, 1 minute as far as this Eastern Ladakh situation is concerned. See, aim is at all cost to avoid what happened on 15th of June 2020, wherein Colonel Santosh Babu had to rush forward and physically come in contact with the Chinese troops. The certain basic measures on ground have to be taken, which most of the armies follow. I can give some examples, like wherever there is a doubtful border, any confusion, misadventure, or misfire or misunderstanding must be avoided. So, what are the tools available to the commander on ground? Firstly, the protocol must give out in detail that each time a patrolling party starts towards the other side will not send a patrolling party at the same moment. Similarly, the route, the path, the timing taken by our patrolling party must be informed to the other side well in advance so that they are not taken by surprise by presence of our troops so close to them. A protocol in case something goes on ground. What happens in case party finds something abnormal on ground, in case they find something unusual on ground, or worse come to worse, skirmishes start, fist fighting starts on ground as happened on 15th of June 2020, if fist fighting starts on ground, there must be a continuous communication between the patrolling party and the battalion headquarters, and the brigade headquarters must be in loop so that in case there is some confusion, brigade headquarters should be able to intervene immediately and stop any misunderstanding. If I go by protocol followed with the in some of the western countries also have boundary problem, when their patrolling party goes ahead, Uday, believe me, they are officially they carry their int people, they carry cameras and video cameras which continuously broadcast on ground situation back to their battalion headquarters, back to their brigade headquarters. This is happening in Europe. So probably we can learn a protocol can be formally improved to include a video camera, a videographer, and continuous broadcast back to headquarter, so that headquarter can intervene and if required they can say come back 100 meter. Yes, Uday.
Absolutely. Let me quickly give a closing comment now to Group Captain Jha.
Uday, what is going on, we don't know. What has been signed on, we don't know. First question is, are we going back to the position, at least the position on the paper, what was relevant before 2020? If answer is yes, that yes, they are going back where they were before, fair enough. This is okay. Things can be taken care of. But if not, what is that trade-off which is going on? What is happening onto the areas where they are holding and they are directly threatening us? So all these will have to be seen. Some questions were there. Whether I fully agree with General Katoj, it was never a joint patrol. It was a patrol by both parties. Say like Pangong, I have seen it happening with my own eyes, that Indian troops used to go just short of figure 8 from figure 4, where they were established at figure 1, but from figure 4 to figure 8, they could all, Chinese used to come in their time and Indian troops could go there on that time. Both on ground, there's a very small ground, between the lake and the mountains. But in the lake also, I have gone in one of the short venture into the lake up to finger two, seeing that exactly what is happening there on the ground. So how it all translates, that is absolutely essential. And the question again remains there: what is the final terms of conditions? Where are the Chinese going back? Are they, demolishing their permanent structure, what they had made at those, petrol point 10, 11, 12, 13? Are they demolishing it there? If not, then it has to be seen with a suspicion. And last but not the least, look, are we going to define the international border? If we are not going to define
Right.
the international border, this will again arise.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.